Okay, y'all, I am back. It's raining. Multi crying. Okay, we kids want to know about symbolism. Okay, so I'm talking about symbolism. Symbolism is everywhere, but also look in the description box for more examples. Okay, so if y'all don't know what this is, 911 could be significant. 9/11. Okay, 1911. So two. Symbolism in literature. What symbolism is and how to lose it in your writing. Symbolism describes the use of concrete images to convey abstract ideas. Because this literary device is widely open to interpretation, and because many readers from, from different relationships to concrete objects, this is one of the more slippery elements to literature to both understand and convey to an audience. Nonetheless, understanding symbolism and knowing what is a symbol are crucial to writing good poetry and prose. What makes symbolism particularly freaky is understanding how an image is being employed in the text, like emojis. For example, fire can represent destruction and evil, but it can also represent regrowth and the cycles of life. So this article demystifies the complexity of symbolism in literature. Along the way, we look at symbolism, examples in poetry and fiction, before moving towards how to represent abstract ideas in your work. What is symbolism in literature and how do you read it? Let's define the slippery concept. Symbolism definition. What is symbolism in literature? Yeah, I did get this from watching the movie The Signs. Yesterday lightning. Okay. Symbolism refers to the use of representation imagery. The writer employs an image with a deeper, non-literal meaning for the purpose of conveying complex ideas, like music, writing a book. Okay, I know when y'all read a book, y'all can picture it, right? I know I can. Or a song, I can picture it too. In literature, symbolism is the use of a concrete image to represent an abstract idea. For example, the heart is often employed as a symbol of love. Obviously, love is more complex and full-bodied. It doesn't just sit in the chest, but we constantly refer to a loving person as having a big heart, or a person who lost their love as heartbroken. Sometimes a symbol is the stepping stone for extended metaphor. If the heart represents love, what does it mean when a heart is iced over or two hearts beat in the same chest? Or someone has the heart of a deer. While a good symbol can certainly stand on its own, it also creates opportunities to play with ideas in a way that abstract language prevents us from doing. That said, a symbol is not a metaphor. Symbolism uses a relevant image to convey a relevant idea, whereas a metaphor compares two similarly unrelated items. Unlike metaphors and similes, symbolism employs a symbolic image repeatedly through the text with the intent of being a central image and idea of a text, like the Bible too. Okay? What is a symbol? The freakiest part of understanding symbolism in literature is knowing what images are symbols and why. To answer this, we must first dive deeper into the image themselves. What is a symbol? A symbol is an image whose figurative meaning is much deeper than a literal one. It is an object often ordinary and commonplace that have been imbued with extraordinary significance. You like the Bible, okay? People think the little verses mean something, but it really don't. It's not what y'all think it means. It means something that you don't want to get involved in, okay? I'm just saying. Whereas a symbol an image whose figurative meaning is much deeper than its literal one. Some symbols are clearly specific. An example of a symbol that varies by culture is that of a marriage proposal. While many countries use engagement rings as a symbol of being betrothed, the people of Wales often use love spoons to signify one's partnership. In Thailand, a marriage proposal might be significant by a thong bun, gifts made out of gold. Other symbols are either more universal or else easily inferred from the text. For example, in The Great Gatsby, my favorite movie, by the new one though, like the 2001, okay. By F. Scott Fitzgerald, a green light represents all that is unreachable to Jay Gatsby. He sees a green light on the other side of the sound, where his love interest Daisy lives. Not only is Daisy unreachable, but so is everything she and the green light represent. The perceived stability and descendant of the American dream. True. Perhaps there is also symbolism in the color green itself. Okay, I only got one part that I play for my daughters. Like, no, baby, y'all better not be no fool like Daisy said. Good, y'all better not. To keep a man, they ain't gonna like most of y'all like that though. But anyway, perhaps there is also symbolism in the color green itself. It is the color of money and the gold color of stoplights. This last implication is suddenly laden with irony because chasing his dreams is exactly what kills Jay Gatsby. You ain't lying, he right here, you ain't lying. Because the green light is so far away from Jay, and because he never able to touch it, or Daisy for that matter, it obviously represents some sort of unreachability. Because this image recurs throughout the novel, it is a clear example of symbolism, so much so that the green light has become nearly universally understood to the point that Lord D has a song inspired by the symbol. Symbol examples. Symbolism operates slightly different in poetry than in prose, primarily because of the differences in word choice and length in poetry versus prose. A symbol tends to recur in prose in such a way that it becomes a motif or builds towards a broader theme. Each recurrence of the symbol complicates the idea that the image represents. Because poetry tends to be shorter, it also tends to employ symbols more economically. Symbolism in poetry may be harder to interpret or understand as the poem does not provide as much context for the reader, and thus requires the reader to make more inferences and interpretation. As such, we look at symbolism examples differently in prose and poetry. The below symbolism examples come from published works of literature. Symbolism in literature. Big Mother by Anya Odie. Read this short story here in Strange Horizona. Central symbol. Big Mother, a medical snakehead fish. What it represents. The loss of childhood innocence. Like in your dreams. That's symbolism, y'all. Go to my son. He know how to break that stuff down. Symbolism is, I know I do. I paid him too. I don't care. Symbolism examples in the text. Catching snakehead fish seem to be a rite of passage into adulthood. The oldest boy is obsessed with catching them. What's more, when Uncle finds out that the children have caught snakeheads, he trusts them with his favorite ride. When the oldest boy misses out on catching Big Mother, he becomes obsessed with capturing this symbol of adulthood. Then, when he does catch Big Mother, she ensnares him. The only way to ensure the oldest boy's safety is to bargain their current lives for their future ones. Analysts. Big Mother represents the complicated relationship people have to adulthood. The children all glorify her at first, but the elder children realize the sacrifice they must make to save themselves from her walk. Okay? This darkens the moods of the elder children as they come to understand the promises of adulthood, the fragility of innocence. What at first seems minuscule and fantastic about the real world is actually laden with terror. The fact that the river is paved over further complicates this theme. While the characters are saved from the fate they seal, they also catapult further into a world that replaces magic and mystery with practical and mundane. Okay? Some other stories. Symbolism in poetry. My Heart Leaps Up by William Wordsworth. My heart leaped up when I behold a rainbow in the sky. So was it when my heart began, so is it now I am a man. So be it when I shall grow old, or let me die. The child is father of the man. and I could wish my days to be bound each to each by natural piety. Here's an example of poetry with symbolism in which the symbol is employed only once, but very effectively. The rainbow represents the kind of natural beauty that children are best at admiring. If you remember observing nature as a child, you might remember being moved by a rainbow, yeah, or by a forest, the rainforest, or a desert, or by any number of beautiful things that abound on this earth. Wordsworth asserts that the child is father of the man, precisely because children are inspired by natural beauty in a way that adults are not. We have much to learn from kids in their relationship to our planet. And as an adult, this poem speaker hopes to worship this beauty bound each day to each day by natural piety. Okay? Because I Could Not Stop for Death by Emily Dickinson. Because I could not stop for death, he kindly stopped for me. The carriage held but just ourselves and immortality. We slowly drove, he knew no haste, and I had put away my labor and my leisure too, for his civility. We passed the school where children strove their recess in the ring. We passed the fields of gazing grain. We passed the setting sun, or rather he passed us. The dews drew queerly and chill, for only gossamer my gown, my tippet only tulip. We paused before a house that seemed a shrilling of the ground. The roof was sacredly visible, the cornice in the ground. Since then, this century, and yet feels shorter than the day. I first surmised the horses he's rest towards eternity. This poem employs a lot of symbols. Most notable in the third stanza, the images each signify a different stage of life. The school represents childhood. The fields of gazing grain represent adulthood. Grain is fertile in its prime, and it gazes upwards toward the sky. The setting sun represents old age. Though each of these symbols are employed only once, they are suddenly evocated in the context of death personae. As the poem suggests, each of us are on a horse-drawn carriage towards the afterlife. Universal symbolism. Does it exist? The theorist Eric Fromm divides symbolism into three categories: conventional, accidental, and universal symbolism. Conventional symbolism is closely related to concrete imagery. Essentially, it is elusive images which everyone in particular language can understand. When I say light bulb, you imagine some sort of glass bulb with a filament inside. We might have different mental images, but we agree on the same meaning. This is a non-interpretive form of symbolism, and in semiotics, we essentially referring to the sign, signifier, and signifier. Okay. Lord, yeah. Okay, then we got accidental symbolism. Might be best described as specific to a certain person. We form relationships to objects all the time. Some positive, some negative. A character might form a specific relationship to an object, and that relationship will continue to affect this character throughout the story. For example, let's say your character won the lottery losing a $5 bill they found on the street. They might assume that every time they find a $5, something lucky is about to happen, making that $5 bill a symbol of luck. Ain't gonna lie, I like me a 10. Ain't gonna lie, I found me a 10 one time. I don't know. I think he anyway, I like me a 10. I like a friendly too. I like a friendly too. Cause my grandma gave me that $20 before she died, so I got it like locked up in my phone. Cause I like friendlies and 10s. I like a 5 too. But I never really found a 5 on the phone. And finally, we got universal symbolism, refers to images which over time have developed a symbolic meaning that we all instantly recognize. Yeah, the Bible. These symbols are understood across time and culture. A heart represents love, the sky represents limitlessness, and a fire represents power or destruction or rebirth, depending on how it's employed. See? However, don't be misled by the word universal. It is better to see the categories as postmarks along a spectrum, as few, if any, symbols would actually be understood by every person in the world. Additionally, don't assume that universal is automatically better. Yeah, I was gonna say conventional though. No, ain't like at first I was gonna say universal, but then I thought conventional for them. You know what I'm saying? Universal or accidental, maybe I don't know. So, what y'all think? Um, it automatically better because these symbols are well understood. They are also often cliche. It's important to employ imagery in fresh, interesting ways, using the context of your work to discover new and surprising shifts between images and ideas. Often using a poem or story to expand upon the accidental symbols of your life or the lives of your characters will result in more impactful imagery. Lastly, you may be interested in the idea of the objective correlated. An objective correlated is a device that makes an abstract idea concrete in the context of a piece of literature. An obvious example of this is the mirror in the picture of Dorian Gray, which represents Dorian's soul as it becomes corrupted by vanity. T.S. Eliot, who popularized the term, argues that a work of literature should arrange images and symbols precisely so that they evoke a certain meaning without telling us the meaning itself. It is, in essence, a way to exercise show, don't tell. Okay? Wielding symbolism in your writing. Here's some advice for employing symbolism in literature. Be concrete, be specific, prefer the accidental to the universal, be spontaneous, and don't overthink it. Okay? So yeah, that is symbolism. Okay? And I will find some examples and put them in the description box. Okay? Enjoy. Got 2 more to go.